take care of some preliminary matters. As a matter of law, the defendant is ineligible for probation. But if he was eligible for probation, this court would not give him probation. The court acknowledges its discretion and obligation at reviewing verdicts from when we get first-degree murders to see if it's second-degree or even voluntary manslaughter. And I will explain also, as the defense has asked, that I have the authority to strike or reduce the gun enhancements. I also have the authority to run the LWOP sentences consecutive or concurrent. And let me kind of briefly go through that and why I am giving the sentence that I am giving him. First of all, as to the first-degree murder, I look at various factors, having sat through the trial. And I do this in every murder trial. And I don't take this lightly. I truly respect jury verdicts. Have I reduced a first-degree murder to second degree? I have. In fact, I did it 2 weeks ago. But I'm not doing it today. And I'll explain why it's not happening today. Very simple reason. The jury heard all of the evidence. The jury evaluated all of the evidence. The jury came back with a first-degree verdict, which was the correct verdict. It was a verdict that, when you look at the totality of all that happened during this particular crime, it's the only verdict a reasonable person could come up with. And considering all the evidence, and I'll just hit a few high points that I think, honestly, the jury was looking at. The defendant's text message to his cousin about killing. Defendant's controlling, demeaning behavior. When he said just a few minutes ago, he wants us to know who he is, that's who he is. It's very clear from the videos. His driving over to the apartment with a loaded gun. The fact that the victims were helpless, completely taken by surprise. The planning of a listening device. Firing within seconds of entering the apartment. Clearly showing an intent to kill, not heat of passion. Willful, deliberate, premeditated, cold-blooded murder. And something that is hard to explain, Ray was not involved in their problems at all. But he shot Ray first. Shot him in the head in an attempt to kill. You don't shoot people in the head unless you want to kill them. And in front of Anna. That was deliberate. He wanted her to see it. Very cruel. He took photos immediately afterwards. Who does that? He calls his mother. He had 3 days on the stand to explain his actions. He explained them. And the jurors came up again with the only reasonable verdict, which is a first-degree verdict. They also found, because there was 2 deaths, that this was multiple murder under Penal Code Section 190.2A3. The next thing this court has to consider is the gun enhancements. In the state of California, the legislature has, both slowly and quickly, changed certain enhancements. And the court is obligated to look at reducing certain enhancements, including those that require or have a 20-plus year addition to the sentence. And again, I look at both mitigating and aggravating factors. Of course, it goes without saying this crime involved great violence. It involved a firearm. It involved vulnerable victims who, again, had no time to react, no time to defend themselves. It involved planning. I don't think you could say it was sophistication or professionalism, but it certainly involved planning. When you load a gun, arm yourself with a gun, drive 10 or 15 minutes to an apartment complex, as we saw on video, his demeanor going up the elevator, his demeanor going down the elevator, that showed planning. And obviously he took advantage of a position of trust. There's clearly that she didn't know he had a key, but he took advantage of that. Now, there are certain factors that, as for mitigating factors under the rules of court, I don't find any. Zero. None. There are certain factors with the defendant that I am obligated to take a look at. I acknowledge he has no prior record. I acknowledge the fact that at the time of this killing, he was suffering substance abuse and had some mental health issues. But I reject the fact that his childhood contributed to this at all. I hear terrible childhoods day in and day out. And his was not ideal, but it wasn't what we hear in this particular court. And I don't think that any of these crimes were connected, in fact, to his mental health or even his substance abuse. He was over 26. It did involve intimate partner violence, but he was the one that was committing the violence on her. And of course, he denied when confronted with it what happened initially. So the court is not going to strike or reduce the gun enhancements. The question then becomes one of whether or not these life without possibility of parole should be consecutive or concurrent. And that's a big deal. That will, in all likelihood, determine whether or not he dies in prison or out of prison, whether he dies a free man or one who's not. And this is the bottom line on this is I've watched him here during all of this time. He's a very talented actor. He is a very talented actor. When I saw the Scarface videos, it's as if when he committed these crimes, he became that persona of Scarface, of just the cold-blooded killing without remorse. Any tears that he's cried in this courtroom have been for himself. They are not for Ray and Anna. It's just, that's the reality. He fears the consequences, as he should, of his actions. But as he sits here today, I don't know if he's really sorry. I have serious reservations about it. I know he's sorry about the consequences of going to prison for the rest of his life. But I can't say that I think he's sorry for having killed these two innocent human beings. He's a very selfish person, as I think the jury saw. That was something that his character kind of came through, and we ask, who is Ali Abulaban? That's who he is. He's somebody that is only thinking about himself, and the idea of killing two innocent people doesn't disturb him. It's chilling. So the bottom line here is he will die in prison. He will never be a free man. He will take his last breath there. Please, in this matter, the defendant on count 1 will be sentenced to life without the possibility of probation via Penal Code Section 1190.2, Parent A, Parent 3. Consecutive to that will be 25 years to life on the gun enhancement under Penal Code Section 12022.53D. Consecutive to count 1 will be count 2, which will be life without the possibility of parole. Penal Code Section 190.2, Parent A 3. Consecutive to that will be the gun enhancement of 25 to life under Penal Code Section 12022.53D. Total prison term, 50 years to life plus LWOP, life without the possibility of parole. He's given the following custody credits of 1,552 days. He is given the following fines and fees.
Your Honor, probation has credits of 1,052 as of today.
Okay, 1,052. He will pay a restitution fine of $10,000 under Penal Code Section 1202.4B. Court security fee of $80 under Penal Code Section 1465.8. Criminal conviction fee of $60. The general order of restitution at today's time will be set at for the funeral expenses of $12,890. And what was your other restitution amounts?
Just so the record is clear, that $12,890 is to the Victim Compensation Board.
Correct.
The amount to Amalia Miller is $3,324.24.
We can cancel that, Mr.
Okay. I can't. Please don't interrupt. Go ahead.
And the amount to Hermé Sarton is $1,214.66.
All right. Those amounts will be also ordered. All right. Thank you all.
Your Honor, I just want to make one clarification. When the court announced the sentence, 50 to life plus LWOP, is that plus 2 terms of LWOP, one for each?
As I indicated, the counts 1 and 2 on LWOP under the special circumstance has alleged and pled and proven under Penal Code Section 190.2 Parent A are consecutive to each other. So that's 2 consecutive LWOP terms plus on each count 25 to life, totaling 50 to life plus LWOP. So yes, they are consecutive to each other.
Thank you.
Charles?
Is it because it's LWOP, there's not a second 10,000 one? Is that-
Yeah, we'll just do it
Okay.
once.
Okay.
All right, we'll be in recess.
Folks, please exit.